When you talk of the diaspora, in Sri Lanka, everybody thinks you're an extremist or somebody who's against Sri Lanka. That is the feeling that was brought upon us during the war. The diaspora always related to somebody who was speaking against Sri Lanka. So then there was this animosity that built up the minute you use that word. But that really isn't the case. A Sri Lankan who's now living in another country is part of the diaspora. They can be Sinhala, they can be Muslim, they can be Tamil, they can be Burgher, any religion, all part of the diaspora.
Last week, went to Jaffna and other areas. Today, Cabinet approved the new law to introduce a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. This time with lot of teeth. That means not that they only will give recommendation, but they have the power to implement. What are the powers? They can say that these people or this person is a victim and therefore provide reparation.
The first thing we had in mind was, when you talk of the diaspora, in Sri Lanka, everybody thinks you're an extremist or somebody who's against Sri Lanka. That is the feeling that was brought upon us during the war. The diaspora always related to somebody who was speaking against Sri Lanka. So then there was this animosity that built up the minute you use that word. But that really isn't the case. A Sri Lankan who's now living in another country is part of the diaspora. They can be Sinhala, they can be Muslim, they can be Tamil, they can be Burgher, any religion, all part of the diaspora. So this whole bad feeling, I think, pushed us apart even further. Historically also, the events that took place in Sri Lanka over the years has distanced some of our own people from the country. Then those living overseas now, also there are those who want to come to Sri Lanka, get dual citizenship, get involved in the development of the country, help us to come out of the difficult times, but don't know how to do it. The bureaucracy sometimes is quite significant. But Harsha, our Controller General of Immigration, is trying to weave through some of the problems and is making some headway. But what we wanted to do was have this overall office where we engage with the diaspora, some relation from who's overseas, who's lived a few generations even overseas, sending money to a young chap in Jaffna. We don't want them to go and buy an expensive motorcycle and then end up in a gang fighting each other within Jaffna. We want them to use this money for something good, a good investment, so that will help not just their lives, not just help Jaffna, but also help Sri Lanka. I mean, that's a very small part of it, but I mean, we had a big picture in mind. We wanted all the Sri Lankans who invest in other parts of the world to come back to their country and invest. We wanted to assist them with getting their dual citizenship, maybe the renewal of a passport, some information on their relations, anything. And so this office will not have a particular job description, but just, bring us all back together, bring us all together to develop this country. And I'm glad to say, in 1 year of work, they have come a significant ways. We can't ask them to come back and put their money here unless we are offering a level playing field, unless we are offering transparency, unless we are offering opportunity. Opportunity will come when the other things come, like transparency, level playing field, and we become attractive. Then this will become an even more attractive place for people to come and invest. So the most important thing in this journey will be to stay on course. We can't let political rumblings disrupt us. The journey we are undertaking eventually will make sure that political rumblings will not disrupt us. But until we get there, we still run the risk of getting disrupted. And we just can't afford to have that. It is very easily doable if we all work at it together and we keep the citizens of this country, the communication with them, very clear and crisp, and that we're doing all this for them. Although it's difficult right now, it will get better by the end of next year. There's lots of light at the end of the tunnel. It is going to be a good time for us. And I think we can see rapid growth after that. We will have to work hard at it again, but we can see it. There's so much opportunity to do.
Last week, went to Jaffna and other areas. Today, Cabinet approved the new law to introduce a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. This time with lot of teeth. That means not that they only will give recommendation, but they have the power to implement. What are the powers? They can say that these people or this person is a victim and therefore provide reparation. Or this particular person's child is missing and they can order, give a report on that to find that. Thirdly, they also can be asked that Attorney General to prosecute if there was evidence on this. So there are a very positive and progressive step we have taken, but that is open for discussion. This is the first step of that. Ultimately, what is important is the ultimate law which is certified by the Speaker of the country should be a good law. So we are taking that step. Today Cabinet approved that, we will gazette it. You will have that in all 3 languages. Please share with the people who are interested in that and come out with your suggestion. As we did with the ATA, we gazette once, but there were concerns which were very legitimate. It came back to us. We, as a government, decided to done away with the original draft and then captured most of their suggestion and gazetted. So now that is available. Probably we will present that in the Parliament in the first 2 weeks of January, and thereafter people can again go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will look into whether it is consistent with the Constitution or not. So all these things is to create a conducive environment for a fair living for all people.